Hello. Before I start, I'll just tell you what this is about. I'm going to talk about Istanbul and a project to build a new bridge across the Bosphorus. Over the last century, we have witnessed a rapid urbanization of humanity. The population in the world is growing in general, but our urban population is growing faster. Not because urban people make more babies, but rather because people are moving from the countryside to the cities at a rapid rate. And we've seen large cities in the past in history, but when we talk about large cities, we were talking about 1 million. Ancient Rome peaked at about 1 million and then rapidly declined. And we didn't see 1 million in a city again until London reached 1 million in the 19th century. Now we talk about megacities. We talk about cities with 10 million people or more. A megacity, as I said, is 10 million or more. Just to give you some examples, Tokyo has 34 million people, Guangzhou in China, 25 million, and Mumbai, 23 million. Now, statistics can be misleading because what's the definition of a city? Do they mean inside the city centre, or do they mean the region of which the city is the capital? It's confusing when people compare city sizes. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm talking about lots and lots of people in a limited space. Istanbul, the capital of Turkey, is a baby when it comes to megacities. It is only 13 million. I say only, still pretty big. But the problem with Istanbul is the projected growth. It is simply out of control. Let's look at some of the statistics from the past. When Istanbul was the capital of the Ottoman Empire, in 1914, there were 1.1 million people. Then, after the loss of the empire, it quickly declined to 500,000 people 10 years later, in 1924. But then, from that dip of 500,000, it started to climb rapidly. 1955, 1 million inhabitants. 1975, 2.5 million. 1995, 9 million people. And now, 2012, we have 13.3 million inhabitants. And there is no sign of the growth rate slowing down. The opposite, in fact, is the case. Now, as in any major urban area, one of your big issues is going to be traffic congestion. And Istanbul is renowned for its chaotic traffic situation. And there's a new construction project, the idea of which is to tackle congestion. However, it's far from a clear-cut issue. It's very controversial, in fact. Those in favour of the project say it will ease congestion, and those opposed to it say, in fact, the opposite is the case. It will make congestion even worse. So what exactly is this? Well, it's a project to build a third bridge across the Bosphorus from the Asian side to the European side. The project has a price tag of some 4.5 billion Turkish lira for now, but of course these things have a habit of growing out of control. Those in favour say that this bridge, it's not just a bridge, of course, there's a motorway as well to link into it, so it's not just the bit across the water, it's the many, many kilometres on either side as well. And they say that this new motorway across the Bosphorus will ease congestion, take the pressure off the other crossings, and take pressure off the system as a whole. So that's the theory. However, those opposed to it say the opposite is the case. There are some very angry people in Istanbul at the moment. To the forefront are environmentalists. You have professional, qualified urban planners who are opposed to it, and the residents of the city generally are opposed to it. They're in fact furious. And why are they furious? Well, they say that this extra bridge will simply create more traffic because more people will be able to get into the city, and therefore more people will go and live in that part, that hinterland of the city. They say that the construction project will gobble up the last remaining green areas outside the city, and it's going to cause major problems for the drinking water of the city, as the motorway will destroy some of the drinking water reservoirs. Those opposed to it say, far from being an infrastructure project to improve the quality of life, this is simply a land grab. This is a real estate project. People who own the land, who sell the land, and all the middlemen will get very, very rich, and the city will end up strangled afterwards. Having listened to both sides of the argument, I must say my view is that they should not build the bridge. They should instead take that money, 4.5 billion Turkish lira is a lot of money, and with that money you could build an excellent metro network to make life more bearable for the people who live in the city. You could improve all the suburban trains so that people don't feel the need to move into the city. And you could improve the ferries that cross the Bosphorus. That kind of money will buy you a lot of ferries. And these things, although less spectacular, less of a legacy for politicians, would benefit the users rather than the speculators. Critics of the project say it stinks of political corruption. And they give an example in their criticism. They blame no one less than the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has thrown his full weight behind the project, but not so long ago he was opposed to it. And there's a famous speech of him saying that a third bridge across the Bosphorus would be tantamount to murdering Istanbul. Somehow now, miraculously, he has changed his mind. Whatever happens, I suggest you keep your eye on this project. It's going to be very interesting. Thank you.